Dave Lawrence here, and a great moment in my life is about to occur. Joining me for a discussion here on the airwaves of 105.9 is an undisputed superstar of music, a champion songwriter, a hero for all ages, B.B. King. B.B., a thrill to get to talk to you. Thank you for taking the time.
Well, thank you very much. How are you doing today?
I am very good, and I'm still sort of basking in the glow of getting to talk to you on the phone the other day, and it's really something. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We did have a good time, though, didn't we?
We did. It was a lively chat I won't soon forget. Give us a little rundown on just your feelings. You're here. You're in Hawaii. How is this different than being somewhere else on tour? Because you go everywhere.
Well, I think that maybe the islands doesn't get as much blues as we do in the mainland. And maybe they show the appreciation. And it could be, I don't know, but that they're glad to have, somebody from the mainland over here. And I just happen to be one of them.
What is the reaction that most inspires you, or that you sort of get feedback on when people in the crowd react to seeing B.B. King live? How is it different from place to place, or is there just one energy that sort of permeates the B.B. King audience?
It seemed to be almost one energy. Any place I go now, it's an unusual thing for people not to stand. Very unusual when they announce my name to come on stage. It's an unusual thing anywhere in the world that people don't stand if it's possible for them to. And that gives me a send-off, boy, I'm telling you. That makes every little, whatever, the adrenaline or whatever they call it, it sets me up. I'm ready. I don't ask them to, and the people that work for me don't ask them to, but they do it. I don't know whether it's really the respect they have for me or the appreciation or both. I don't know, but I love it.
There's something that maybe is a great follow-up to that. You do tours like this one tonight where you're more out by yourself, so to speak, not with a really well-known package like your summer tour where I've gotten the chance to meet you before. You go out on the road. You always bring a bunch of eclectic people out there. This past summer, tell me about the crowds and the reaction. Wasn't it George Thorogood out with you?
Yes, I had George Thorogood out. And
a few others, too.
I had Susan Tedeschi. I had... Tommy, I can't call Tommy's last name, but anyway, I had quite a few different ones. Even Buddy Guy made some dates with me.
On this past summer tour?
Mm-hmm. But we call it the B.B. King Blues Fest. But other than that, I think trying to answer your question, normally I only travel with people doing the Blues Fest. Other than that, it's always just my band and I, always.
The Blues Fest that I remember the best, would be the year of 2000 when you had Buddy Guy and Coco Taylor.
Yeah, well, this year I didn't have Coco Taylor, and Buddy, none of them hardly makes the whole set with me because we do about 2 months of it. And most of them say, oh, God,
that's a long tour.
Yeah, but few of them will stay with me the whole month. I mean, the whole. I think it was the. Oh God, I can't think. Kim Weston, Kim harmonica player, Kim and his group. They stayed with me the whole time.
The guy from the Fabulous Thunderbirds, that guy.
That's what we're talking about. That's who it was. Mm-hmm.
Yep, I know that. I know who that dude is.
They stayed with me the whole time. They made all of them, but I had. Susan stayed with me about a week or two.
I'm from her old turf in Boston. That's where she's from.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She got a fine little boy now and a husband, nice husband.
Derek Trucks.
Yeah, they really a beautiful couple now.
Yeah, both great musicians as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of great musicians, tell me about how far back your relationship. We talked the other day about how your relationship with Eric Clapton, obviously riding with the King. How far back does it go in time?
The 60s. I met him in the 60s. He first visited the U.S. In the 60s, and I met him then, and we've been friends ever since.
What's your first recollection of meeting Eric Clapton? It doesn't have to be the first, but in your mind, you know what I mean? The one that you remember as.
Cafe A Go-Go. So that night we had a jam session. I'll never forget it. Had a jam session, and we were playing at a place called New Generation. And it was one of those kind of rock clubs that opened late. Everybody else in town would be done finished their job, and I was open. Janis Joplin and myself, Janis Joplin had a group called Big Brother and the Holding Company. And we were playing at this new place called New Generation. And we was there for like 2-3 weeks. But we wouldn't come on stage until about 11 or so at night. And everybody would come over there. And this particular night, we had, oh God, I'm trying to think of his name from Blood, Sweat, and Tears, piano player.
Not David Clayton Thomas.
No.
He's the main.
It was another guy, but David was there, but he didn't play.
Oh, he was at the gig.
Yeah. But, oh God, I can't think of the name. The guy lives in Nashville now. He's a producer, and he produced records. He produced, it was a TV show called, oh man, my mind is really hung up now. But anyway, I call his name, you know who he is. He's a songwriter.
I'm sorry, I don't know it. I just don't have your depth of knowledge, BB.
Well, I guess I got it, but sometimes like
I had the Thunderbirds guy for us, right?
Yeah. As my mind is kind of like an old computer there. Jimi Hendrix was there that night, and Jimi Hendrix had his tape recorder. Nobody else had a tape recorder. He did, and he taped what we did. And I didn't know it, but years later I found it floating around. So I said, when I die, if I find that sucker, he's going to have to give me a copy of that tape.
Yeah. And he had taped you.
Oh, yeah, he told us he was taping it. We knew he was taping it, but he was supposed to give everybody a copy if they wanted it, you know.
And you just had to get it later on. It just kind of floated your way.
I didn't get it, yeah. I didn't get mine that night at all. A few other people. I think Johnny Winter was there, too. A whole lot of us was there that night. A lot of people, you see, like I said, it started late. And everybody else done did what they were going to do, and they'd come over. And some nights we jammed, and that particular night we did.
And you were lucky enough to have Jimmy come down there and tape it. That's a great story. Do you have any? What's your favorite moment with Jimmy? I know he was very inspired by you. Here he comes. Here comes the Lover Man. That tune. That's inspired by Rock Me Baby.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
He considered that to be here comes the Lover Man. He considered that tune to be like Rock Me Baby, Rock Me All Night Long. You hear like the similarity? I'm trying. I hear him in my non-melodic voice.
I'm gonna have to check it out, but I don't remember.
I'm gonna mail you some Jimi Hendrix.
All right, but you know what happened? I knew Jimmy long before he was really powerful like he was. When I first met him, he was working in the rhythm section with Little Richard.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So he worked with Little Richard, and nights when we would be traveling, just like you and I sitting back here talking, he and I would do just exactly what we're doing now, sit down and talk and discuss music and people. He didn't seem to be interested in nothing else but music, nothing else but music. Very pleasant to talk with. At that time, I didn't know he was into drugs as much as he was. You know.
Was he? What was it? Was he taking advantage of the time to sort of like pick your brain about some of the things that you had already been through, or was it just kind of like guy to guy talk?
Just guy to guy talk. No.
You know what I'm getting at? How some musicians.
No, he didn't. He never did do that. Never did do that. I'm a kind of wise old dude anyway. If I figured he was doing that, I'd just come out and tell him, "Hey, what you want to know? Let's talk about it." Now.
The tricks that work magic on Lucille stay with the man.
Yeah, stayed with him. Mm-hmm. But you know. He reminded me of a lot of young guys I meet today. He would ask me some things, and when he did, things I knew about, I'd love to have him, love to tell him. Because I didn't have too much of that when I was coming up. A few guys, Robert Jr. Lockwood was one of my good friends. Used to work with me and beat the hell out of my hands. Man, you ain't playing nothing. Damn, you know you played that wrong. Bam! He'd hit me on my hand.
That's how you evolved.
I said, God, I'm paying you. You're beating the hell out of me.
I'm paying you and you're smoking.
But he's one of my best friends, still alive. He's still alive. He's in his 80s now, and one of my best friends. He teases me sometimes now. He said, if I hadn't been beating the hell out of you, you wouldn't be playing nothing.
You wouldn't be so good.
Yeah, he's a good friend.
Someone that did some really cool things with you, I've always admired the way Bill Graham, the promoter, used to put you on the bill with all kinds of other bands. You know what I mean? He was trying to educate audiences, basically. That was his way. Give me some memories. Anything that just comes to mind. It doesn't have to be anything in particular that comes to your mind of the Bill Graham era.
Well, I'll tell you a little story about Bill Graham. Bill Graham, first I have to tell you, was one of the best promoters ever. So the first time I was booked to play for Billy Graham, we was playing at a place called the Fillmore West. Now, we used to play the Fillmore West quite often before Bill got it. But it wasn't called the Fillmore West, it was just called the Fillmore. So when he bought it, he renamed it the Fillmore West and didn't do anything with it, but just fixed it where you couldn't fall through the cracks in it. But this was just a big old open hall. And the day I came up there, this was the first time that I sort of noticed what we call a crossover. I had my old bus and we pulled up, and leading up to the doorway was about, if I can remember correctly, about 5 or 6 stairs from the street, about 2 lengths of a car that lead up to the doorway to go inside. You follow?
At the entrance, yep.
Yeah. So when we got there, I saw all these long-haired kids on each step. They started from one end to the other, body to body. And I said, oh no, this is the wrong place. I know it's the wrong place.
All just hanging out.
Yeah. No, they were talking and maybe exchanging jokes or maybe memories, whatever, but pleasantly, real serene, if that's a good word. So I told my road manager, I said, I think my agent made a mistake. I said, it was the wrong place. We'll go in there and check it out. So he went in and he found Bill. Bill came out and said, no, B, this is the right place. I said, ooh, I don't think so.
Not used to seeing those kind of...
He said, come on in. So he carried us in and took us up to the same old dressing room where somebody done cut the couch. It was leather, and they done cut the couch, long cut on, and it hadn't been changed. It looked just like it did when we used to play prior to Bill. So I'm nervous as a cat with a big dog around. So I said, I gotta have a drink. At that time I was drinking, but I didn't have any. He said, B, we don't sell no liquor here. I said, I don't care, but you got to get me a drink.
Go get me some. You're the promoter.
Yeah. So he said, I'll send out and get you. So he sent out and got me a half a pint of something, but anyway, liquor. And I sat up there alone, thinking, what the heck am I going to do? Because now going to the dressing room, I forgot to tell you, after we got inside the door, there was, oh man, so many people sitting on the floor, body to body, all the way to the stage.
Indian style, cross-legged and stuff?
Well, I guess you could call it that, more like Japanese usually do. They didn't have no bamboo to sit on. They just sitting down flat, some sitting on their heels, but having a good time. They was just there. And nobody knew me by looks. I imagine if they had known I looked like I did there, I said, get the hell out of here. But
no, I don't.
They did, but they didn't. They knew me by the music only.
And that was a real liberal city there too, right?
Well, yeah. San Francisco was always really nice because it's sort of the hippie movement started there, I think. After getting up to the dressing room, he said, "When it's time for you to go on, I'll come back and get you." And I thanked him, and I sit there, and finally the bottle come. I had me 3 or 4 slugs of that, and I'm, what the hell? Whatever happened, happens. So sure enough, finally he came and got me. I'm nervous though, still nervous. I done had 2 or 3 slugs of this drink, but I never did fool with nothing else. I've never used hard drugs or any of that, but I did used to drink quite a bit.
I've known that about you.
Hmm?
I've known that about you, that you didn't fool around with drugs.
No, I never did. So when he got to the stage, the best intro I ever had and the quickest one I ever had, he said, "Ladies and gentlemen," and when he said, "Ladies and gentlemen," it got quiet enough for you to hear a pin drop. He said, "I bring you the chairman of the board, B.B. King," and that was the intro. And all of a sudden, the people stood up, and they made all kind of noises. I ain't never had this before. I ain't never had nobody stand up for me before. So I felt so emotional, I cried. I couldn't help it. What am I going to do? I ain't never played for people like this before. And they've given me something that I've never had from blacks or anybody else. And boy, that 45 minutes I had, I played my heart out and cried some more while I was playing, because I had never been treated like that before. And that was the beginning. That's what I remember about my good friend, Bill Graham. He was a good friend.
You just gave him the ultimate tribute, BB. That's some quality material there.
I mean it sincerely, because that's the way he was.
I know that about you. You're a very gracious guy. You're very, very humble. You're very down to earth. You're an inspiration for how someone who is successful should try to be and how to treat others. So telling that story about Bill, that's just remarkable. And also I want to point out real quickly, Bill was the master of intros, no matter who it was, whether it was the Grateful Dead or, he had Miles there. He would always come up with something great to say.
Yeah, he was there. Well, like I said, that's the best intro I ever had. Never had one surpass that. Never, ever. And short, right to the point. And he was that kind of guy, all business, but he liked friends. He loved friends, but all business, no BS, all business when you were around him. He laughed, but he was a good promoter. I want to say the best. Another nice thing, he paid you well. He was paying us like nobody else did. You had to do your work, of course. Like I said, he's all business. But you do your work, and he would smile at you when you go in the office, smile at you and pat you on the back, and give you your money and say, "Hey, that was a darn good show," what have you, make you feel good. Now get out of here.
And if it wasn't good, he'd say something too, huh? Not that you would not have a good show.
That I don't know, but I'm telling you that he was all business, and I'm sure if you didn't do, he'd still pay you, but if you didn't do, you knew it, because he'd tell you. He was all business, but it was hard to not do your best for him. That's just the kind of guy
He brought it out of you.
He brought it out of you, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for always pulling the mic away from you. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, it's okay. No, I was rubbing my eyes.
Working on limited technology. You're a good man.
Well, no, that wasn't really it. I had laser surgery on my eyes about 10 months ago. I'm a diabetic, and the back of the eye at nights would rupture. And they said that if I didn't have that work done, that your eyes and your brain and some other place, I can't remember, never replenish, I use the word, never fix itself. In other words, whatever's doing wrong, it'll keep doing it.
It won't rejuvenate.
It won't rejuvenate at all. And so what they had to do was they had laser surgery, and the way they told me, sort of like watching an old Western movie. If one of the stars gets shot, they probe until they get the bullet out of him, and then they take a hot iron and heal it up.
It's how it was, too.
Yeah. Well, they claim that this laser did the same thing in another way to my eyes in the back.
You look great, BB. BB, may I ask you how old you are?
I'm now 77. My birthday is September the 16th.
And I think I saw you the day before it or something like that time that I first met you, the time that we're looking at a picture of BB and a very good friend of mine, Nancy, and myself, and that was taken then.
Right. Well, anyway, this year I'm now 77. I used to have fun with people because when I was 76, I said, "Oh, I'm 67." And so one of my guys been with me a long time. He said, you're 77 now. Mess with that.
You can't throw that one around. BB, I haven't asked you about U2. It's such an important thing, and then I'll let you roll because I know you got to get ready to do your show here. Tell me about your relationship with them. Do you still have a relationship, regular contact with those guys?
My contact with Bono and the group is similar to my contact with them is similar to the way it is with Eric. We're friends, but we don't call each other every Sunday or so. But when we see each other, we got enough talk that they have to come get us to pull us apart because we talk about everything. Last time I saw Bono was, I think, about 2 years ago at the Grammys. He came over for the Grammys. So we stood out and talked because the Edge, to me, is he's a rhythm section all by itself. I knew only one guy that played guitar, that played all the chords, played all. A guy that used to work with me named Hopkins.
Lightning Hopkins.
No, not Lightning.
Okay.
He was related to Lightning. I saw him this year, but he played. He was a whole rhythm section by himself. Well, that's where the Edge is. Whole rhythm section by himself.
Big fat sound.
Well, big fat sound. He played the whole thing. So I always liked them. And the way we met, a lot of people think that they asked me, but they didn't ask me to do a tune with them. I asked them. We was in Ireland, Dublin, Ireland. And that night, you know how it's just like you play a show. That night, U2 came by to visit. They caught the show.
To see you play live.
Mm-hmm. And after the show, they came backstage. And when they came backstage, we were talking, and all of a sudden, because my manager had told me that they may stop by. It was in the air that they might. So I knew that Bono had wrote a lot of songs. And I remember the album, the Joshua Tree album.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to him, and I said, he wrote a lot of good songs. I said, I'd like to get you to write a song for me sometime. And he laughed, real Irish-like, he laughed. And then he said, okay, I will. And I said to him, well, yeah, I've heard that before.
Sure he will.
Yeah. But sure enough, about a year later, my manager at the time was Sidney Seidenberg, which I love, called me and said, B, Bono called and said he wrote a song for you. What? Yeah, I said he wrote a song for you. And he's coming, the band is going to open up outside of Fort Worth, Texas. I wanted to know if you'd open the show, and I said, damn right.
I'm there.
So I went over, and sure enough, he had wrote a song. And when I went over the lyrics and heard the melodic line, the way he had it, I couldn't believe it. Such a young guy. And I said it. They had it on on the movie. I'd say, I can't believe, as young as you are, to write such strong words. Like when he get into that part about I held whatever. But anyway, he held the scabbard when the soldier drew his sword.
Right.
And all of that was so deep, like it's like Christ being crucified, a whole lot of stuff. He's very religious,
And he packed it into a tight thing.
Yes, he did. And he did it in a way I've never heard it done before. So I praised him for it. And I said, you're mighty young to have such deep ideas. And then he said, well, the chords go like, I said, well, excuse me, but I said, hell, I can't play no chords. Said, now, if you give it to me, I'm going to play it this way. So he laughed and said, well, do it your way. So I did. And that night, because I opened the show, and a whole lot of the people, B.B. King, B.B. who, there's a lot of them, the kids that knew, you too didn't know nothing about it.
And weren't familiar with you.
Oh, no. But it helped me a lot, because we did the best we could do. And when Bono and the group come out, which they always knock the crowd out, people go crazy. But then later on, near the end of the show, he says, you know, I wrote a song for BB and we're going to do it now. And the crowd, they first, you know, shouted with approval, and then they got quiet. And when we got on the stage and started to do that show, that song, they went crazy again. And what they did, after that, we recorded it. And not only did they use it on the CD, they was doing a movie, and they put me in the movie with them. And one thing they did, I'll never forget, they froze my picture, the full screen on, you know, in the movie. Froze my picture for about 8 seconds, just me, just there. That's great.
You're the man. You totally deserve it. And you shared some great memories tonight, BB. I really do appreciate it.
These are memories that I keep with me all the time, and think how blessed I've been.
You're a very, very humble guy. Do you enjoy talking about him? Did you enjoy getting to talk about him tonight?
Oh, yeah. Everybody mentioned the friends, you know, all of them friends. I've been lucky. I've had a lot of friends that have did a lot. You know, I never did get records played on the radio a lot. Only one record, I did The Thrill Is Gone, and that one they played like they play any other record. But other than that one, when I did When Love Comes to Town with You Too, they played it. People played it. When I did Riding with the King with Eric, they played it. But other than that, I never had. So the only way I could get popularity was travel. A lot of people ask me why I travel so much. That's the way I got it, going to the people, playing.
Well, I know you got to go, so I'll wrap it up with you. And the song I'm going to be laying on people, by the way, is a song that you didn't mention, and you'll be impressed. Better Not Look Down. And that's not with anybody but you kicking ass on that, correct?
Well, I had a good time. We did what a lot of people don't know, the second cut we did when the picture was called Thelma and Louise.
Right.
We re-recorded for them.
Okay. I did a special.
That's when they was getting ready to jump over the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, the finale.
And and so the tune was, you better not look down.
Yeah, graceful suicide moment.
Yeah, right.
No, thank you very much, 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. Thanks you. I am grateful for the experience tonight, BB King.
Been nice talking to you.
You're a good man.
Aloha! This is BB King, and whenever I get a chance, I'm listening to my buddy, Dave Lawrence.